Nobody dreams of going out of business when they start. They dream of being open for business and growing that business. These are 7 serious mistakes that beginners make when they start their business, and it really crushes their dreams. And I want to try to help you through that so that you can actually grow and scale your woodworking business to meet your dreams. Let's go. The very first major mistake that beginner woodworkers make when they start a business or when they start thinking about selling stuff is, I'm not good enough, I'm not ready, I don't have the right stuff yet, in that line of thinking. And I'm here to tell you that if you're waiting to be ready, you're absolutely never going to be ready. When I started, I didn't have a shop full of tools. I didn't have the skill level. I didn't have any knowledge about woodworking business at all, but I had a desire to make some extra money. And if you're watching this video, you probably have the same desire. Now, I started in this tiny little shed out in the back of my house, and I only had the front section of that shed to work in, and I actually built most of the projects out on the dirt in front of it. And I didn't have any tools at all. Well, I had a tape measure and a Swanson speed square, and that's it. I borrowed this exact circular saw. If I borrowed it, why do I still have it? Well, my dad gave it to me after I borrowed it for a while. Thank you, Dad. I borrowed this and a couple of drills, and that's all I had to get started. You don't need a giant selection of tools with all the latest and greatest stuff to get started. Is it nice to have those? Absolutely. But it's not necessary to start, even to start a woodworking business. And that's why I think woodworking is one of the most approachable businesses for people to do as a side hustle or something on the weekends, things like that, because it's so accessible. You can borrow tools, you can pick used tools up, you can buy some very inexpensive tools at your local box stores, Ryobi and things like that. Hart, Hercules, Bauer, those type tools will get you started so you can start building projects to make money. I'm not good enough. Well, I wasn't good enough when I started either. Some of my first projects, when I look back at them, I'm like, man, how did I sell that? But the key is to start, because if you never start, you're never going to grow. You're never going to scale that business. And the key to growing a business is starting the business. Even if it's making one product and trying to sell that product. I'm going to give you some tips on how to sell products in this video, but the key is to start trying to sell the product. Even if you think your skill level's not quite there, it's time to start today. In this same number one mistake, most beginner woodworkers get caught in the trap of the fear of failure or the fear of people judging them and thinking that, you know, they're going to talk about your flaws and things in your product. That's just not the case. You see all the flaws and all the imperfections in that product because you made it, and you also know your skill level, so you know exactly where to look. But the truth is, the majority of people looking at your product will never see that imperfection. And you should never tell them that that imperfection's there, because they don't really care about the imperfections. They care about that handmade product that you've made. The number 2 fatal mistake that I see beginners make that really crushes their business is they don't ask for the sale. This sounds extremely simple, but you get asked to buy something probably hundreds of times every single day. You've probably been asked to buy something today multiple different times, with ads on TV, with ads on the internet, with ads on all the social media platforms. That's that company asking you to buy their product. They're just putting it to you in a different way. Now, when you first start your business, one of the best ways to get your first sales is to simply ask friends and family. And that can be scary. And that goes back to the fear of failure or the fear of people judging you in the first mistake. Remember, we quashed that one, so we don't have to worry about that. Now we're in number 2. What you have to do is just tell people you're selling stuff. Let people know. It's very simple. Post it on your regular Facebook page, on your personal page, and say, make sure you build it, and then take a picture of it. And then once you post it, say, I make these. They're for sale. And then from there, you're going to start seeing people ask you to build other things. If they know you can build stuff, you'll start getting more and more custom orders that you can scale your business, charge more money, grow your skill level. There's a whole ton that goes into it. But the most important thing to getting a sale is letting people know that you have things for sale. And that goes just simply by asking. Take Andrew, for example. I help coach him in my Sawdust Startups program. He has really scaled his business by simply always telling people he has things for sale. He has generated several $1,000s now just asking people to buy his products. It's quite impressive what happens when you just put yourself out there. The number 3 mistake that I see beginner woodworkers make is pricing. They price their products extremely low. You go back to the thing where you don't think you have the skill level yet. So you always price your product very low. This is a massive mistake that I see over and over and over again in my coaching program because people don't realize the value that they hold when they make something by hand. When a customer comes to a woodworker or approaches a woodworker, whether it be online or in person, or you take your product to the people, whether that be at craft shows or in front of potential clients, what happens is you know your skill level, you know your experience level. Because you're a beginner, you automatically assume you can't charge as much as somebody else, when that's likely not true in a lot of cases, because you hand make the thing, you put the time and effort into it, you spent money on the materials, you've built something custom that they can't get anywhere else. They can go to Walmart or IKEA or Amazon or dozens of other places to buy products that are mass produced, but that's not what you're selling. You're selling handcrafted, handmade items that you made, and that matters to a lot of people. I see this lie a bunch. You can't make money woodworking, or you can't charge because Amazon sells it, or somebody on Facebook Marketplace is selling it extremely low because he's undercutting the competition. There's just no money in woodworking. That is a flat out lie, and I can prove it over and over and over and over again just from the clients that I've coached and helped them grow their woodworking business. I see them making several $1,000s a month with little experience when they first start out. It only takes a couple of months to scale something like this up. So there is money in woodworking if you price your products appropriately. And pricing them is key. When a beginner starts pricing their products, one of the major things they do is they start looking at all those imperfections, or they start thinking about their skill level not being good enough, or maybe their tool set's not good enough, and so they price their products way under what they should be. And this really undercuts your business, and this will cause you to go out of business faster than anything, because the last thing you want to do is get out in your shop and work your tail off and not make money. If you're trying to make money with this and you're working yourself to death every spare minute that you can, and then you're not making money, it's not worth it. You're just spinning your tires, and then you just get sick of working for nothing. You might as well go get a second job at that point. The reason you started woodworking as a side business is because you enjoy woodworking, and if you start making some money with it, you'll enjoy it even more, because you're not working for nothing. And we're going to teach you how to price that appropriately. So how do you price woodworking products that actually get a profit so you can use those profits to generate more sales, to buy more products, to buy more tools, to grow your business, and to grow your income for yourself, your family, or even supplement your retirement? It's pretty easy. I'm going to give you a free pricing guide that you can use to price your products appropriately so you get enough income to grow your business, supplement your retirement income, or supplement your family's income, buy more tools, whatever you want to use. I'm going to give that free to you if you stick around. The number 4 major fatal mistake that I see beginner woodworkers make when they start their business is they don't know how to take photographs of the product and describe the product so that they actually get sales, especially if you're posting these online, and it doesn't matter if it's Facebook Marketplace, if it's on Etsy, or on your own website, on Instagram, wherever you're posting these things at. If you do not do this correctly, you will not get sales, you will not get views on that product or that posting. It's very discouraging to new woodworkers, and when that happens, they typically quit or stop trying to sell stuff because that product didn't sell. Now, not everything you post online will sell. However, there is a way to significantly raise your chances of your post getting seen and you getting more sales. Take Todd, for example. He's in my Sawdust Startups group. He posted one Facebook Marketplace ad, one. He got over 100,000 views, still getting views on this, over 100,000 views on this one product listing. He posted it for free. He's never boosted it or paid any ad money toward it. He's made close to $10,000 on that one post alone, selling his woodworking product. One post, almost $10,000, over 100,000 views. Every week he's getting new leads. Why? Because he took the proper photos of that product, the proper video, and he described it exactly like it needed to be to get the most reach. And that's where you really have to focus in on your products. Product photos is everything. If you don't stop them from scrolling with your product photo, it just kills your listing or your conversion rate on when they see the product and they buy the product. If you go to Etsy and search cutting board, which is what I've done here, you're going to get tens of thousands of results. But the ones on the first page or two are the absolute ones that are converting. In other words, people are buying their products. Why? First and foremost, you have to catch their attention with the product photo. If you look here, one in the top left has a tree. This is actually glass and not wood, which is interesting that it's showing up as a cutting board. Cutting boards can be made out of tempered glass and different things, but this one is unique because it has all of those colors and that tree. It's absolutely beautiful. And if you look, they have 418 reviews at a 4.9 star. That tells me that shop is moving product. If you scroll down one level, you start seeing stuff that says popular now, bestseller, popular now in that second row. But if you just look at their product photos and the way they're laid out, you can just tell they stand off the page much better than, say, some of these listings that come later. So I scrolled 20 pages in on Etsy and started looking at the same search results for cutting board, 20 pages in, and you can tell that the product photos are quite different than the ones on the first page. Why? These aren't getting as many views, they're not getting as many sales. If some of these listings, if you're one of these, I'm sorry, but if you would just change your photos up a little bit, like the ones on the front page, you'll start seeing better results, because the photo is the first thing your customer is going to see. And if that doesn't catch their eye, then you can't get them to click on it and read any more about it. So the photo is extremely important. Staging your photos is massively important to getting sales. If my wife had not staged up the very first product I made, which was an outdoor chair and bench set, I would have not sold them. However, she had some skills in this area, staged them up, put a carpet under it, put pillows in the chairs, helped me take really nice photos right here in this garage. Right here. I took the photo right here. Those sold immediately. So we made another set, used the same photo, sold another set over and over until I got a custom order and started making other things like benches and things like that. Every time I made a new product, I took a good staged photo of that product, especially if it was a custom order. Why? Because I can use that photo to post online to get more sales. Gotta have good photos. Here's a prime example. Randy is one of my students in startups. He had this bench that he was making. He had a picture of it on his front porch. He wasn't making any sales. He comes to the course, he takes the product photo course, he takes new photos of those, and he posts them. Within 6 hours, he had sold 3 benches. He had that listing up for 3 weeks and never sold anything. Within 3 hours of good photos, he had sold 3, and he sold several more after that. So much so he got so sick of building the benches, he just didn't want to build anymore. He was selling them that fast just because he took really good product photos and gave it a good description. It matters. So how do you get a good description? One thing you can do is kind of a cheat, or at least a way to kind of get your juices flowing to figure out how to describe things. You can use a website called ChatGPT. You just go there and then type in, like I hear, give me a product description that's interesting for the customer. This product is a handmade wooden bench for outdoors. You can get very descriptive here. You can tell it what kind of wood you've used. The more descriptive you get, the better your listing, or the listing example it's going to give you, will be. So you see, I just gave it a few more descriptors here and then just pushed enter. And this is what it's going to do. It's going to spit out a pretty good description here. Now you can change some of the wording so that it kind of matches your style, or you can tweak it so that it fits the product. This is a much better description than the prompt I just gave it. So if I was posting this on a Facebook Marketplace listing and I had good pictures of the bench, I wanted a good description, I would go here just to get an idea of kind of what I could do. And then once you get this product description, if you like it, all you have to do is I type something like this. Give me a clickable title for this description. And then it's going to spit out a good title so that you can put that first in the listing that will catch the eye. Transform your outdoor space with this handcrafted wooden bench. That's perfect. The number 5 fatal mistake I think most beginner woodworkers make, especially if you have a family or if you have a full-time job, is time management. Time management is one of those things that I answer questions on all the time about managing time properly to get the most out of your time, because I know if you have small kids or kids at all, not only do you have your full-time job and you want to woodwork on the side and you have family time, but they also have activities like soccer and baseball and football and cheerleading, whatever else they're doing. You have so much going on, so you have such a limited amount of time for woodworking and building a business, it can get a little bit stressful. But there's ways to manage your time so that you get the maximum out of it. Now inside my free program, you can go to school.com/731woodworks. There is a time management module that's going to break down everything you can do to literally maximize the amount of time you have for your woodworking so that you can get going and build a profitable business. When I started mine in 2017, I had 3 kids in school. All 3 of them had activities from cheerleading to baseball to soccer. Like everything was always going on, plus school events, plus church events, plus home life, plus my full-time job, plus woodworking. There's just a lot going on. And so I understand if you feel like you're stressed, like there's a lot of stuff going on, but this is where a lot of people kind of lose their way in their business, and they lose business because they don't know how to maximize time properly. Now, what you have to do is you have to block time off. Whether that be you talk to your spouse and say, hey, Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4, I need to work in the shop. However you need to do that in your life, you got to have those discussions if you have family members that you have to work around so that you can maximize that time. One of the greatest things I ever done was just get up early. If you don't get up early, it can really change how your business flows when you also have a full-time job. There was a lot of mornings I got up at 4 a.m. to come out and put finish on something that was quiet. I could build the afternoon before or the days leading up to it, and then that morning I could get up and put finish on or stain on or something that could dry while I was gone to work or gone to do other activities. This is one of those things you just have to plan your time around your products so that you can maximize that time. If you don't do this, what you wind up doing is, especially if you're taking orders, you wind up coming up to the deadline when the orders are due, and then you're working your tail off trying to get everything done when you should have been spacing it out over time. Time management is absolutely massive to keeping a successful business. One of the ways to do this is set a goal before you go to bed at night. Write it down, put it in a notes app, whatever you need to do, but you got to set the goal for the next day. What is the most important thing you need to do the next day so that you can get that product done or move forward with your business? I know a lot of times when you say, I can't get up early. Well, put this down earlier and that'll help. You know, you just put that thing away because you get to scrolling and you may be watching this at night. Put it away. It's not important. Go to sleep so you can work on your business tomorrow. Business ain't going to grow if you're scrolling on this all day. The main thing you have to do if you're trying to manage your time is to block off time to work on the business. It doesn't matter if that's shop time, if that's office time, if that's study time, and study is important. If you're growing a business, you should be trying to learn how to grow a business. There's books out there by the Yang. I'll drop some of my favorites in the description. However, you got to block off specific blocks of time. And again, that's going to have to go back to the conversation you may have to have with family, friends, whatever. And sometimes, you know, maybe your friend's going golfing on Saturday and you need to work on your business or fishing or whatever your hobbies are. Sometimes you have to prioritize what's important. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the business will come before other things. And there's a time for hustle and there's a time for not. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on around online that, you know, you shouldn't be overworked and all that stuff. I'm telling you, from 2017 to 2021, I worked my rear end off doing all kinds of stuff, including woodworking, including YouTube, including a full-time job, including family. Yeah, it was stressful. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but it paid off in the end because hard work pays off. And the more you put into something, the more you're going to get out of it. And sometimes you just have to sacrifice time here and there to pour into the business. Now, I'm not telling you to neglect your family or your friends. You should never do that. But there are times when the business and the work will have to come first if it's going to grow. It's just the way it is. I obviously cannot cover all of this in this little video. The module inside of Woodworker Jumpstart at school.com/731woodworks on time management is 30-something minutes long. It goes into a deep dive on time management. Check it out there. It's free. And inside that module, I'm also going to give you downloadable daily and weekly planners that you can use to literally plan out your week. This will help you massively manage the time properly so you don't waste any. The number 6 mistake I see a lot of people make is making the wrong product that nobody's going to buy. Well, how do you know they're going to buy it? You got to do some research, right? So a lot of times what happens is most people try to make a cutting board or something like that starting out, and while you might can sell some of those to friends and family, to scale a product you have to have something unique. And one of the things we sold that was one of our most massive sellers, we sold so many on Etsy, it was absolutely insane. I got sick of hearing the cha-ching. We sold so many of them, there were stove covers. Now, the stove covers that were out there when we started building them were all flat. So they had little flat handles on them on each side, and that was kind of the style. Everybody was selling those, or serving trays they called them, but most of them were called stove covers or noodle boards. My wife wanted one, but she didn't want one that look like everyone else. So she designed a unique handle style that nobody else had at the time. We sell plans for these on the website at 731woodworks.com. And they've sold well. The plans sold well. And the people that make these stove covers, even with my style, are selling dozens and dozens of these. So they're really good sellers because they don't really look like what people expect a stove cover to look like. You can do this with any product. It just has to look a little bit unique. You have to change it to your style or put a little unique spin on it. That will make a huge difference in if this thing sells. Recently, one of the startup members sent me a picture of a stove cover he made off of my design, but he tweaked the handles. They're more modern, more sleek looking. This totally changes the look of the stove cover, but it still gives it the same function. This will sell huge for him. All he has to do is post it online because it's different. Basically, just tweak something to make it your own style. This is where things start separating the good from the great, and you can start massively making a lot of money. When we started putting these online on Etsy, I literally sold hundreds and hundreds of stove covers just because they looked different, because they had good product photos as well. Remember that, back to the product photos. I took a photo every time I made a different color, and I made a new listing on Etsy, which is another little trick you can use on Etsy. That's a power tip for you. Just when you make a new product or a new color, just make a new listing. That gives you more chances to be seen. But when you differentiate yourself just by making it different, that's when you start seeing things sell. Now, how do you find things that are selling? Well, there's a lot of ways to do this. I've actually got 45 plus project ideas for you that sell for free. School.com/731woodworks. I want to give you those for free. All you gotta do is go sign up. It's totally free, and you'll get those product ideas. That's gonna help you start narrowing down. Pick a couple, 2 or 3 of those, and then really dive into some research. You can look on Pinterest. You can look on Etsy. You can also search popular websites where this stuff is sold. Anthropology.com, Wayfair.com, go to Kirklands.com. Places that are selling home goods is where you want to look. Look how they have their photos taken. Look at the titles they put. Look at the descriptions they put. Look at the product reviews, especially on Etsy. If you start seeing something that has a lot of reviews on it, that means that product is probably selling more than other products. That's how you start kind of diving in to figure out what product you want to make. And speaking of what products you want to make, one thing you don't want to fall into the trap of is having too many products at one or too many projects at one time. So maybe you're working on an end table and a cutting board and a dining table and your mama's back door steps or whatever. Like, you have too many irons in the fire, this will really crush your business because you can't focus on the one thing. Find that one thing that sells, start throwing spaghetti against the wall till it sticks. When it sticks, remake that product over and over and over. But one way you can kind of minimize how much spaghetti you have to throw is just dive in and do a little bit of research on these websites so you can pick 1 or 2 or 3 things, build those, and then post those for sale, see which one does better. And then move in that direction. The number 7 mistake, and you want to stick around because I got a bonus tip for you, but the number 7 fatal mistake I see beginner woodworkers make, including myself, is you overthink, or you get analysis by paralysis, as they say. You're sitting around, you're watching all these YouTube videos about what you can make to make some money woodworking, but you never take action on it because you're too busy thinking about, well, there's 400 products here that I want to make, I can't pick one, and maybe it's this one, maybe it's this one, and you start analyzing them all. You have to take action. The number 1 mistake I see beginners make, this is number 7, but it is the number 1, is failure to take action. If you do not implement the stuff that people are telling you to do that have seen success, then you're not going to be successful yourself because you're sitting on your hands. You're not doing anything. You got to get up off the couch. You got to get out of the chair. You got to just get out there and start doing it. And that's the only way it's going to happen. You have to get off your tail end and go to work. Now, sometimes it sucks. I know, because I've been there. I'm still there. Sometimes things suck. It's just the way it is. But if you don't start, you're never going to be successful. If you don't implement some of the things that people are trying to tell you that's working for them, then it's not going to happen. You got to stop overthinking things and just get out there and build something. The only thing that makes you a woodworker versus a non-woodworker is you're cutting wood and putting it together. That's it. Don't overthink this stuff. Don't overcomplicate it thinking you don't have the skills, you don't have the tools, you don't have the time. It's all nonsense. You can do what you want and you put your mind to. The main thing is you have to start. You have to stop overthinking this stuff and stop being so critical on yourself. I know. I'm that way too. I'm hypercritical about everything that I do, everything that I make, and you are too, and that's okay. But we can't let that paralyze us from taking the next step to building a woodworking business that can literally change your life. It can change your life if you go from making nothing a month from woodworking to making $1,000 a month from woodworking to $3,000 a month woodworking, and beyond that, that's life-changing. If you're going from nothing and you've had nothing and now you get an extra $1,000 a month, in my case, is a house payment or a vehicle payment or a couple vehicle payments or whatever your life looks like. Maybe that's $1,000 that you didn't have. Now you can go buy some extra groceries, or maybe you can buy that tool you wanted, or maybe you can put that towards your retirement, or maybe you can buy your kids the shoes they've been wanting. You know, it's all of this stuff adds up, but the only way you can do that is to stop overthinking and stop being so hard on yourself. I believe in you. I believe in you. I know you can do it, but you've got to just take a breath, stop overthinking, and just go build something. That's all it is. Now here's a bonus. If you're serious about growing your woodworking business, one of the best things you can do is get inside a community of like-minded woodworkers growing a business. And we have that. School.com/sawdust startups. It's different than Woodworkers Jumpstart, which is at school.com/731woodworks. This one is school.com/sawdust startups. There's over 400 of us in there, all working together for the same goal, which is to grow a business. This one is paid. Woodworkers Jumpstart is free. You get a lot of good free information in there to get you started. Inside of Sawdust Startups, what you're getting is a copy and paste guides to help you sell the products online as well as in person. You're also getting pricing strategies so that you can remain profitable and make more money We're also going to teach you how to take the best product photos and increase your sales, how to scale your business from $2,000 to $5,000 a month and beyond. We have weekly live group coaching calls with me as well as 2 other coaches currently on board. And then also we have 40 plus of my build plans absolutely free in there, and a ton more, not including the over 400 community members all helping each other. It's absolutely amazing to see. School.com/Sawdust Startups if you want to get really serious about growing your business. But I do want to help you, even if you don't have the budget yet for Sawdust Startups or you don't want to join that, school.com/730 Woodworks. You get a lot of free information, including that pricing guide to help you price your products properly. You're also going to get the 45 plus project ideas that are profitable projects that you can make. You're going to get a step-by-step blueprint that I made showing how I went from zero to making $100,000 in woodworking. You're also getting 3 free live masterclasses that I made with my students, 3 of those students who really took the information and have been able to make a lot of money with their woodworking, and they're going to tell you everything they did to make that money. So you can use all of this information to grow your woodworking business for absolutely free. Can we talk one-on-one just a minute? The main thing I want here is for you to understand that you can do this. You don't have to go buy anything. You don't have to join my courses. You don't have to do any of that stuff. There's a whole bunch of information available online. It's a lot of trial and error out there until you figure it out, and you can figure it out absolutely. You get a little jump start when you join programs like mine or others. It doesn't even have to be mine. But the main thing I want you to do is start. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It doesn't matter your tool set. It doesn't matter your shop setting. It just matters that you start. I'm telling you, it's the thing that makes or breaks people who are successful is the ones who are successful just started. The ones who didn't just didn't. You have to start, and that's what I want for you. Even if this is the last video you ever watch of mine, just start your own journey. Start your own products, start posting them, let people know you got them for sale. It could change your life, and I would love to see that change your life. If that happens, please come back and let me know. But you just have to be willing to put yourself out there. That's the scariest part. The scariest thing is to take that first step, to step out of the boat onto the water. Like, it's one of the scariest things you'll ever do. I love that story in the Bible about Peter when he took a step out of the boat. How many other disciples were in the boat? They didn't take the step out. I mean, the courage to take the step is the first thing you got to do. Just take that first step and things will start happening. But you have to take the first step. And it's the only way you're going to learn. It's the only way you're going to fail and then learn. It's the only way you're going to succeed is to take the step. And that's really all I want for you. It's all. If you want to sum this video up in one thing, it's just start. Just start. That's all I want you to do. And if you like this video, you got to check out that one, starting from scratch, from zero. You have nothing and you want to start a business from absolutely nothing. Click that box right there. Click in the box, get you the big old virtual fist bump. Hope this helped.